Hey everyone, long time no see, I'm sure. I haven't done a video in a while. Just been busy with things, but we are going to do we, meaning me, I'm going to do a reading, chapter one for my newest book. It'll be releasing in October. It's called Chosen. Give you a little bit about that book before I get into the reading. So new Dragon Rider series I'm writing. Um, there will be at least three books. The title of the first one is Chosen. Book two will be Acolyte, and book three will be Sworn. And essentially, it's about a world where uh, dragon riders are kind of a huge part of this world that is under attack by creatures called Draka. And these creatures are kind of demonic in looks in terms of appearance, horns, fangs, different colored skin, things like that. And dragon riders, because they bond with the dragon, they gain access to abilities, elemental abilities. And then of course the dragons are of course dragons, powerful. Um, and it basically follows this character named Kai, who is a chosen, and a chosen is anyone who is chosen while they were in the womb to be a dragon rider. So kind of predestination. Um, Pregnant women will lay their hands on a dragon egg, and if they feel a warmth come over their stomach, then their baby has been bonded to a dragon that has not been hatched yet, just like the human has not been born yet. Um, and she is set to go to the ceremony of oaths, which is where um, they they already bonded, but they kind of do like a public ceremony to kind of like show that bond, um, and make it, official to the public essentially. But something goes wrong and some secrets are revealed and lots of chaos ensues. It was really fun to write this one. It's been in the back of my brain for at least 2 years. When I opened up my notes, when I started to write this one, um, the notes that I had was from a year ago, like almost to the date when I decided, okay, time to work on this one. Um, so this one has been kind of ruminating in the back of my head for a while. And so when I started writing, it just kind of flowed very well. I'm working on book two as of recording this. I've written the first chapter for book two. So they will be shorter, like my Osnan series and Marked by the Dragon series. Um, that's just what works for me, that format of writing. So instead of trying to fight that and force myself to write longer books and fill it with useless stuff, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to lean into what works for me. Um, so all of that to just kind of give you a little bit about what the series is about. I'm only going to read the first chapter. This book will be in audiobook format by a professional narrator, so I will not be reading every chapter every week or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little taste of the book that's coming. And Kevin Green is doing this one. He did the Marked by the Dragon series. A lot of people really enjoyed his narration, and so I went ahead and got him to do this series. So he is working on it. He should have it to me by the end of September, which kind of works great because my publishing ETA for book one is October, probably mid-October. Don't have a firm date yet, but definitely thinking October for book one. I intend to have book two complete and it'll come out in November, and then book three will be done and it'll come out in December. So that's the plan. We'll see how that goes as I get into the story a bit more. It could change. That changed with Marked by the Dragon. That was supposed to be three books, it ended up being five. So we'll see. But yeah, enough of that. and we'll get into the reading. So, this is chapter one from my new book, Chosen. Kai Lin was going to meet her dragon. Chosen while she was still in the womb, she had long anticipated this moment, and also dreaded it. It should have been an exciting day, and although she was experiencing many emotions, elation was not one of them. She rubbed her sweaty palms on her gown. Don't fidget, Cho, her father said softly. I can't help it, Kai replied. Leave the girl alone, her mother intervened. She has every right to be nervous. It's an important day. I'm aware, Ryoko, but we haven't even entered the city yet. Kai looked out the window of the wagon and watched the landscape pass. Her mother was right. She was nervous. She was leaving behind everything she had ever known for a future of uncertainty and endless war. It didn't make sense to her that both men and women were forced to be chosen. Were it up to her, she would have taken a very different path, one less fraught with danger. She hissed in a breath and grimaced as a lance of pain ran down the back of her skull. Clenching her jaw, she focused her attention on the swirling pattern sewn into her gown and waited for the agony to fade. Is it the headaches? Ryoko asked. Kai nodded slightly, afraid to make the pain worse. Her mother looked at her father. They're becoming more frequent. It has something to do with the ceremony, Sho answered, though Kai could tell by his tone that he was merely offering a guess. The headaches had been rare when she was younger, but as she grew, they plagued her more and more. Now they were headed Now that they were headed to Ikchi for the ceremony, the flashes of pain were almost like clockwork. The agony faded, and Kai unclenched her jaw. It seems a sorry reward for being chosen, she said lamely. Her parents exchanged looks, but neither one reprimanded her. Had they been in public, she knew they would have made a show of chastising her. Being chosen was a great honor, and anyone who said otherwise was akin to a traitor. The rest of the trip was uneventful, other than Kai's steady stream of gasps when the headaches overtook her. She'd never before desired to die, but now it was tempting to wish for the relief it offered. The walls of Ikchi came into view, and Kai marveled at the number of people who had come to attend the ceremony. Commoners and nobles alike crowded at the gates, eager to gain entry. We're here, her father announced. Despite her anxiousness, Kai had Kai was curious to see the other chosen. Were they nobles like her, or commoners? Or was there a mix? She would soon find out. The wagon trundled through a gatehouse, and guards lined the cobbled street, keeping the inquisitive at bay. That was the one thing she disliked about being chosen. She wasn't treated like everyone else. Instead, she had been kept in seclusion. To say her childhood had been laborious was an understatement. She'd never been given dolls or other toys, had never played with another child. Upon asking about it, her parents only told her that being chosen wasn't just an honor, it was also a sacrifice. Never understood that answer then, but she understood it now. The wagon halted, the wagon came to a halt, and the door swung open to reveal a soldier in leather armor. The faceplate of his helm was missing, and his brown eyes swept over the interior, coming to rest on her. He was thin but muscular and had a stoic demeanor. Chosen, he greeted. My name is Lu Wei, and I have been assigned as your personal guard. Please, follow me. Kai stood and looked at her mother for reassurance. Ryoko smiled at her, though her eyes were full of tears that threatened to spill and run down her cheeks. Everything will be fine, she said, rising to embrace her. The words rang hollow in Kai's ears, but she knew that her mother meant well. The lifespan of most chosen wasn't very long, and that was to be expected when their job was to protect the kingdom from the incursion of the Draka. She'd had many nightmares of the terrible creatures, some so vivid she questioned if the dreams had truly been visions. The guard cleared his throat, and Kai lunged for her mother, embracing her tightly. He hugged her father next, and then she stepped out of the carriage and into an entirely new world. Lou offered her a friendly smile and turned about, leading her across an expansive courtyard toward the castle. It towered above the city of Ikchi like a sentinel, and flying overhead was a group of swarm. Kai's breath cut in her throat at the sight of the mighty dragon soaring across the sky. Those riding upon their backs were too small to be seen clearly, but she knew that they were there because their armor glinted under the sun. Kai walked as fast as her short legs could go, but Lou was outdistancing her. He glanced back at her and slowed his pace. Apologies, he said. I tend to walk fast. Kai smiled sheepishly, but she didn't know why he was apologizing. Although she was a noble, one of the emperor's men, he likely outranked her. They reached two massive doors, and at Lu's command, a host of guards scrambled to push them open. Looking through the entrance, she saw a long hall with a vaulted ceiling. Globes of white light were spaced every 6 feet, and they hovered in the air of their own volition. Kai's eyes widened. She had seen magic before. This was something much grander. She looked over her shoulder, but her parents' wagon was gone. Her heart hammered in her chest as panic started to overtake her. But she took a deep breath and reminded herself that she would see her parents again at the ceremony of oaths. Kai followed Lu inside, and the doors closed behind them. She gazed around the hall. The walls were bare of any decorations, which she found odd until she realized this area was part of the barracks. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To your personal chambers." "I have my own room?" "No. All of the chosen have been assigned to the same room, but you each have your own bed. I expect after the ceremony you'll be transferred to Jiangju for training." "I thought we were supposed to train here." "Normally you would," Lu replied, turning to the right and leading her down a new hall. "We've received reports that a large force of Draga have been seen in the area, and the general feels that it would be safest to have you train elsewhere in the event that they attack the castle." Kai frowned. The Draka had never attacked Ikchi before. Between the Emperor's soldiers and the Sworn, it was too well protected. She hissed in a breath and leaned against the wall, closing her eyes against the pain of another headache. "Are you all right?" "I will be," she whispered in reply. After the pain subsided, she opened her eyes to see Lu staring at her, his eyes full of concern. She pushed off the wall and stumbled, but Lu caught her. He placed a hand on her forehead. His touch was surprisingly gentle. Kai felt a rush of warmth spread through her body. "I get headaches," she replied. "They can be rather crippling." "We're almost there," Lu said, "just a little further." He supported her with his arm, and they made their way slowly down the hall, stopping at a wooden door on the right. Lu pushed it open and helped her inside. The room was spacious, with several beds lining the walls. Each bed had a trunk at its foot, and Kai assumed that was where she would store her belongings. "You can take the last bed on the left there." I looked to where Lu pointed and saw a girl that looked to be her age lying on one of the beds. She wore a chainmail shirt and had her feet crossed, her dirty boots resting on the clean, white blanket that draped the bed. "When is the ceremony?" Kai asked, looking at Lu. Despite her curiosity about the other chosen, she didn't really want to be left alone with them. "In a few days. We're waiting the arrival of the dragons. Without them, there isn't much we can do." "Should I call for a physician?" "No, I'm fine. Pain comes and goes. There is nothing that can be done for it. My parents have tried everything." "I see. I will leave you to rest then." "Wait. What do we do until the dragons get here?" "Whatever you like, so long as you remain inside the castle." "Are we prisoners?" Kai asked. "Of course not. It is for your protection. If you'd like to go outside, I can arrange for an armed contingent to escort you around the grounds." Kai hesitated. The idea of being free to do whatever she wanted was foreign to her. Finally, she shook her head. "No, thank you. I'll stay indoors." "Excellent," Lou said, and Kai had the feeling he was glad he wouldn't have to organize a patrol for her. "Food and water will be provided every few hours. Unless you need anything, I shall take my leave." Although she had just met the man, she considered him a friend and was hesitant to dismiss him. She reminded herself that she had no friends, and he was only a soldier tasked with keeping her safe. "I do not need anything," she said. He smiled and bowed his head to her, then left the room. Kai stood in place awkwardly for a moment, debating on whether to lay in bed or wander around the castle. Pain clawed at the inside of her skull. She decided lying in bed was the better option. She walked down the row of beds, glancing at the woman in the chainmail as she passed. The woman cracked her eyes open and returned her stare, causing Kai to look away. She climbed onto her bed and laid down, surprised at how comfortable the mattress was. "I'm Saran," the woman said. Kai lifted her head and looked over at her. She had her eyes closed again, but somehow it felt as though the woman was watching her. "I'm Kai. You look a little soft to be a chosen. Are you a chosen?" "I am." Saran grunted. There was a long pause, and then she said, "The others were in here earlier, but they went to explore the castle." "That's commoners for you, impressed with mundane things." "How many others are there?" Kai asked. 10, I think. Didn't really count them. The servants were whispering that we're the smallest group of chosen they've seen in years. Kai didn't know if that was good or bad, and she didn't ask. She fidgeted with the edge of her gown, running the material under her nails. It was a nervous habit. You're too loud, Saran said. I'm sorry. It was a joke. Actually, you're too quiet. Say something. Aren't you trying to sleep? No. I'm listening to my dragon. What do you mean? He's thinking. When he thinks, I listen. Helps me learn about him. Kai was silent for a moment, debating on whether to speak her mind. Deciding she was tired of maintaining an illusion, she spoke up. What's it like? Hearing your dragon, I mean. And that is the end of chapter one. So hopefully you enjoyed that. It's piqued your interest and you'll be excited to listen or read it if you do ebooks as well. Like I said, October, it's coming in October. So um, yeah, that's chapter one. Thanks for listening, and you can look forward to the audiobook in probably mid-October. See you guys when I do my next update video.